This is the Momento, a mousepad from a brand new company, Superbeings Lab. It's also the company's very first mousepad, so I had no idea what to expect. But I've been testing it for the last week, and this thing continues to surprise me. I have no hesitation recommending this to someone looking for something fast, but not too fast. Now, they market it as a balance pad, which I think it is to an extent, but ultimately terms like control, balance, and speed are going to depend on your own experience and definition. I would personally classify this pad as a control pad that's slightly on the faster side. It has a fair amount of speed to it, but it's nowhere near the level of, say, a Zowie GSR-SE or the Razer Strider, for example. And this is not what I would describe as a muddy pad either, because even though it has a good amount of stopping power, slow microcorrections are still relatively easy, and there's not a lot of noticeable tug. But it's still faster than something like the Zowie GSR-SE Rouge. So in that sense, I guess you could say this is a balanced pad. I did find it to work very well for TAC FPS games like Counter-Strike, but it was also pretty pleasant to use in faster paced games like Overwatch. I even tried it in Quake, which I didn't think I would like it for, but it proved to be more versatile than I first thought, especially when paired with some faster mouse skates like the BTL or Tiger Eye skates. I would highly recommend giving those a try if you get this pad. In terms of build quality, the stitching is really clean and consistent looking across the whole border of the pad. And the base is also quite nice. It reminds me a lot of the original Razer Ice base. As far as grippiness is concerned, it's one of the best that I've tried, and I've never had any issues with it sliding or moving around on me. Now, the texture on the surface material is a bit bumpy, but it's not what I would describe as abrasive, and I think it would be safe on most people's skin. It didn't bother me whatsoever, but then again, I've been an avid user of Cordura pads in the past, so what I think is abrasive and what somebody else thinks is abrasive are probably going to differ a little bit, but I thought it was comfortable. Speaking of comfort, the pad itself is 4mm thick, and it does have a tiny bit of squish to it, so you are able to press down into the pad to get a tiny bit of extra control if that's what you're after, but just don't expect it to be on the same level as a Poron base. Alright, so not only does it perform good and feel comfortable, but it also looks really cool. I'm a big fan of this abstract design it's got going on. And if you're worried about whether the design affects the glide at all, I can say the pad feels incredibly consistent all over. Even the logo doesn't have any noticeable impact on the glide. The only area where the glide is noticeably different is, of course, when you run the mouse over the stitching. Which is well done, by the way, although it certainly does sit a little higher than the rest of the pad. This is really my only nitpick. I would like to see what a lower profile stitching would feel like. If they can achieve that without reducing the quality that they already have, I think they could really set themselves apart from the competition right now. But for being a company's first product, I think Superbeings Lab has knocked it out of the park on this one. In fact, for the time being, this is now my #1 recommendation for a control pad. Even though it's a balanced pad, I think it works extraordinarily well for the types of games that you would want a control pad for. But of course, I have to add the disclaimer, if you're wanting a traditional, really slow control pad, then this might not be for you. This is a little bit quicker than that. But if you're looking for a very fast pad instead, then check out this review of the Razer Ice, or this review of the Superbeings Kin, which is a control-based hard pad.